To the Winning Move podcast. I'm your host, Stratton Brown. I interview successful entrepreneurs from around the world to see what moves they've made in their lives to get successful and, more importantly, stay successful. I'm here to make sure you can create a better life for you and your family. Let's tune in. Welcome to the Winning Move podcast. I got my boy T Summs on today. It's going to be an awesome day. He's an awesome entrepreneur and investor. Hold up. I got to read off your pedigree. $50 million single-family portfolio. Owner of one of the most iconic gyms in the country, the Pros Gym. The single-family king.
Right.
What else? Rap extraordinaire.
Oh,
what else do I got for? And a
I've
drummer.
I've lived like 9 lives. It's crazy, man.
Tarry Summers.
I appreciate it, man. You know, maybe it was 50 million before all these rate hikes, but yeah, I'm taking everything in stride, man. I'm excited for what's to come. I mean, I got started in the real estate business when there was a similar time and situation. So if history repeats itself, which it generally does, we should be excited, not fearful.
All right, bro. What do you think is going to happen? That's what I'd like to hear.
You got to look to the past, right? So, we were in a similar situation pre us being born back in the late 70s, early 80s. And back then, they were fighting inflation by hiking rates. And, eventually they got there. But, we didn't have as much debt back then either as a country. People didn't live on credit cards. People were more cash. But now you're seeing consumer debt rise. You're seeing, I'm seeing a lot more people pay rent on credit cards than I ever had before. And I get a very small, yeah. I mean, however you can get it that month, we'll take it.
So I mean, what's the process you use to take it? Do you have a fucking Stripe account?
We'll take whatever, man. So they can literally log on to their portal, and then they can pay with an ACH. They can pay automatic payment. They can pay with, I think we take Bitcoin now. But if you want to do Bitcoin, you got to call in the office, which no one does, of course. But if you want to pay with a credit card, and then you got to pay the fee, but we can do credit card, whatever you got, we'll take it.
Really? So you've seen more credit cards than ever?
More credit cards than ever. But yeah, and then also too, the stock market, the Fed, they're telling us what's going to happen. They're saying it every day, right? They're saying, hey, we're going to hike rates to 4.5%, 4.75%. That's going to be the base rate. So banks are going to make their spread from there. So we know that rates are going to be 7s, 8s, for foreseeable future. But I think you're going to see a lot of these small business owners break, especially in the real estate space, where they were buying with the anticipation of getting debt at 4% or 3%. And I think you're just going to see a lot of small business owners go out of business, which is really unfortunate, right? The rich, the ultra super wealthy get wealthier, and the people trying to make it, because if they get over leveraged, they go out of business. But you're going to see some shit break.
I see a lot of those syndicators going down hard, bro.
It just seems like, and I'm not knocking it, right? I'm not knocking it, but the people that get over leveraged, that think that they're going to go out and get this 3 or 4% debt, and then projects ran over, timelines that weren't met, and then you've chunked this deal up a bunch of different times with a bunch of different investors. People are going to start demanding their money back. And again, if you're a good operator, you structure things correctly, yeah, you're going to be good like any business, right? But if you took a little bit too much risk a little too late, those are the people that you're going to see fall out. And it's unfortunate, but I mean, it is what it is.
Bro, I had a dude ask me if I was over leveraged, and I was like, how? Like, we don't have like a massive real estate portfolio. Nothing's like collateralized either. To where like there's not a whole lot that could make it happen. We're buying a storage facility at 1% interest. Like, that's not
1%.
1%, bro.
Okay, you got to run me through that, man.
So what we did, we weren't getting a ton of leads cold calling, and so storage facilities, and so we have a VA going through on Google Earth looking for all the storage facilities on the West Coast and trying to pull whatever they can out of PropStream. And so
Okay.
then from there, they skip trace it. Then we have a really, really good cold caller who we've trained who cold calls them. So she sends in a couple leads a week. We talk to him. He was like, "Yeah, I'd be open to carrying the note. I just foreclosed on a guy. I'd carry the note again. I just want a certain amount down." I was like, "Okay, that's fine." He's like, "How much do you want?" He wanted $1 million. I was like, "I can't do $1 million." And same thing. If you want your price, I need my terms. And so essentially, it's $1 million purchase, amortized over 15 years, with a 10-year balloon at 1% interest, and it's a fucking bang. Even like
I
at
love.
the balloon is like we've paid down so much debt to where it'll be a fucking banger at the end of it too.
That's amazing, man. I see. And that's you being creative, right? And
Yeah.
when the world starts to break, when everyone else is trying to do business very traditionally, you have to do business untraditionally, which that's an untraditional way of doing that deal, and that's a win-win, man. I mean,
Right. So,
that's a
bro, he gets
phenomenal deal.
350 down. I mean, because I on $900,000 purchase, I think that's like a 30 to 40% down. But I was like, I don't care. Like, we can go raise that cash. It'll still cash flow really good because we put a large sum down. Where else are we going to go get an interest rate like that? And
You
even
can't.
like if we stabilize it right now, we think it's worth like 1.3 to 1.4. So we bought it at 80% the way it is at a 1%
Yeah,
interest rate.
yeah, that's
If we
amazing, man.
right, if we do the things that we're supposed to do, right? Obviously, I mean it's like 20% occupied, but like all those things to where I think that makes it really cool. But like
Man, and
that's what you got to do.
I was on a call. It was a call with Patrick Bet David. It was one of his
Okay.
real estate calls, and so I was on there, and they called on me, and I was, "Damn, they're calling on me. All right, cool." And they're like, what advice do you have to give for, newer investors, younger investors, or just anyone looking to get through this time and to be able to succeed through this time? And I was like, well, if you look back in history, back in the 70s and 80s, what did people do? Instead of going to the bank to get financing, they were financing with each other.
Yep.
People were saying, hey, you know what? Instead of going to the bank and getting a 16% loan, say what, I'll finance you at 12%. This is how much money I need. Then I'll carry the note. And everyone was just carrying notes with each other.
Exactly.
We're gonna get back to that type of environment. And so the sooner that we start to learn that, dude, it's going to make you so much more successful as an investor, whether you're buying or if you're just a home buyer, real estate, business trans. People do this in business transactions constantly. I mean, the
All the
mastermind
time.
we're in, dude, that's how they buy businesses. They're like, I can't. Bank's not going to loan me on this, but tell you what, I'll give you the 30% down. You're going to carry this. I'm going to cash you out in 3 to 4 years, or 5 or 10, or whatever the
Yep.
number is. And then ultimately, if you want the greatest amount out of that sale, guess what? You're getting the most amount by allowing those interest payments to accrue, and then you get a larger sum as the seller at the end of it. So I mean, it can be a real win-win for everybody, man. But we got to get back to not doing cash transactions, being a little bit more creative. And I know, at least for my sales team, like this is something like they've never done this before, and so I'm like coaching all this stuff from scratch.
Okay.
And you gotta teach these people almost how to be like deal architects. They're like, well, I don't know how much money to
It's a
get down. I don't get.
completely different, like it's a completely different game and way to think about things.
It is, and with these guys, that now they get it, and people weren't receptive to this. I would even say 30 days ago. We're clipping our first, well, actually, 5 different deals. We're wholesaling 2 of them. We're going to keep 3 of them, but on the wholesale, it basically pays for our other 3 properties on
Are you
seller
staying in the
finance.
middle of those just so you can make that seller feel secure? Like I don't know if you know Tang Win, but like if he ever
Yeah, I know.
signs an
Tank.
owner finance deal, he was like, "Bro, I will
Hmm.
keep a 1% equity interest. I'm not going to make any money, but that way I can know I can keep that seller secure. If that buyer ever messes up on us, I can make sure that seller's taken care of." You know what I'm saying?
That's a good idea. I've never thought of that. Tang's a solid dude, man. He's just full of integrity. I've never thought about that. That's interesting.
Right?
Never thought
Because I
about
was
that.
like, yeah, if we are like going to assign like these creative deals, this is a rapport game as far as the creative stuff goes. Like this isn't just like a one-off transaction. This is us in a relationship for 10 years, 15 years, 5 years, whatever it is.
Oh, for
And so if
sure.
I am going to assign it, just so I have the seller's best interest in mind, that way we can make sure everything's taken care of.
For sure. For sure. No, I like that, man. I've never thought about doing that. and quite frankly, I've never really thought about wholesaling seller finance deals. So
Right.
I've got a small community of real estate investors. I think right around like 50 guys and girls, and we've been talking a lot about lease options, seller finance, carrybacks, all these different creative ways of doing business and being able to stay in business. And you know, the amount of people that would pay a $20,000 wholesale fee to be able to get a 4% rate, because they're going to go to the bank and get seven. Like if I
Right.
can get four, yeah, 20K, be glad to pay you that. So
Exactly.
um, I think it's a huge area of opportunity. We just need to get sellers on board with the new reality of doing business. And older people or people in rural communities, they get
They get
this.
it, brother.
Everything's button. They the only way they can buy and sell is on land contracts and lease options and seller finance. That's the only way they can do business. So, we just got to get these city folk on board with this stuff in these major metros. And but if you find a deal if you get a deal under contract that's undervalued, there you're always going to be in business, right? So you know, I, I just think it's going to be a huge area of opportunity, man. And I'm just trying to coach up my guys to be able to take advantage of it. I would love to own a lot of properties at 3% debt. Wait till the Fed breaks the economy, can refinance those in 5 years, 10 years, same way that you're doing with
Yeah.
that big deal.
Um, how are you training your team? What are you doing differently? And like, how are you making them? Because a lot of people don't get creative finance. Even like investors we know don't quite grasp the concept.
Yeah. So I mean, number one, this is the obvious answer. It comes down to sales training.
Yeah.
And the big buzzword 12 months ago was automation. You got to automate your business. You got to exit your business. Who wants to be stuck in the middle of their business? And where people are going to lose it is you can't automate in a bear market. You have to work, right? You have to be in the middle of it. You have to just put your head down. You got to cut your expenses. You got to figure shit out. So, we're sales training. I mean, I would sales train maybe once a week with my team 12 months ago. I mean, we're sales training, role playing. We do a podcast every Wednesday. We'll do dinner after that, and all we do is role play, just
I
with
love that.
hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones. But we do it in an environment. We'll go out to dinner or whatever. Um, maybe have some drinks, get loosened up, and that way, like when we role play, they can take that back into a more structured environment
Mhm.
where they're going to thrive. But it's just constant sales training, man, and then them understanding exactly what the seller needs. So then that way we can create a situation where they understand it and they can make more money off of it. And one of the big things that we're saying in the sales presentation too is, listen, you have this property, and for most people, this property is their only investment. So they
Yeah.
want to milk it for all it's worth. And so one of the things we always say is, listen, I don't want to milk this property from you. I want to milk it with you. So I want to help you to be able to make more money off of this property than if you were to sell it on your own or sell it cash or put it on the market. I want to be able to help you to get more money out of this thing than what you were going to otherwise. Now you're on the same team. Now it's we, it's
Exactly.
us. It's not you. It's not I. It's not combative. It's, now we're together. Now we're a unit.
Exactly. Well,
Now you're
exactly. Like,
helping,
what
not
what
selling.
do you need? My goal is to buy this, and my goal is for you to make a ton of money. How can we make this happen? I just need the right terms. That's essentially all it takes.
It is, right? But you know how hard that sentence that you just said is for a lot of salespeople to say?
Yeah, I guess so.
A lot of
I've never considered myself a salesman. Like it's just like, yeah, let's make some
I
shit
mean,
happen.
you're a natural though. You're a natural, and you're not afraid to ask. Most, especially younger salespeople, are just afraid to just be transparent, open, and honest, which is the number one thing we should all be doing as
Exactly.
salespeople or help people or whatever. It's just, hey, this is what it is, pros and cons, boom, boom, boom. And you got to dig into the emotions, get people energized about what they're going to do after the sale and all that types of stuff. But really, what it boils down to is you just trying to help people. And if people know that you're genuine, you're trying to help them. You're not some sleaze bucket. Like people
Exactly.
feel that, man. People feel that. It's energies, man. You got good
No,
energy, good
vibes and
intentions.
energy.
Hey, I'm gonna make some. Listen, our company is in the business to make a profit. But I also need you to make a profit as well, and I want you to make a profit. And my goal is to try to get you out of this property with as much as I possibly can.
And well, a deal is a deal. And I got this from This guy in a storage mastermind we were a part of, he was like, "Bro, don't negotiate yourself out of a deal. If a deal's a deal, take the deal and move on, do another deal."
Yeah.
Right? If the deal makes sense, bro, it doesn't have to be a rip every single deal, bro. Get it done.
Agreed. Agreed. I think the issue that we're running into now is real estate's kind of on this falling knife, and we don't know how far it's going to go. We don't know where it's going to end. I mean, you got markets like Dallas, Houston that are down 20%.
Bro,
I mean,
Utah's
my
getting
market
slaughtered.
is it?
Utah's getting slaughtered.
I mean, it was so high though. I mean, it was like that Boise, Phoenix,
Yeah.
Vegas. I mean, it's kind of the same story, right? You get all the San Francisco money that's moving out there because it's well great, and well, interest rates go up a bunch, and now people can't afford it. Ah, man, you know what? I think when I first got in this business, I seen the amount of people that lost homes that were, couldn't buy, lost businesses. My father, I remember him in 2009. He was a contractor. He's a tough dude, but crying in the kitchen. That this company just decided not to pay him. Because money dried up, right? Lines of credit shut down. All these things happened, and I wanted to build a business that was recession proof when times like this came.
Yep.
And so when I would be ready, I would be prepared. And you're never going to time the market, but you can't have like you can't have these blindfolds on either. You got to be real with the situation. Like no one, I mean, there's going to be people that come out the other side and absolutely crush it and kill it, but everyone was crushing it and killing it 12 months ago. Today, ain't nobody crushing and killing it. Let's just call it what it is. People are trying to survive. And for my business model, I looked at what is the type of property that we buy. You got your A, B, C, and D. I'm trying to stay in C and B class properties because what happens in a down market, all these A class people, they get humbled real quick. They move into B properties. These B class people, they get humbled real quick. Where do they move? C properties. I don't do the D stuff, like stuff that's straight hood. It's just the older properties, hard tenants. But I want to be in that B C class stuff because I can sell these to an owner occupant. I can rent these. The bank loves to finance them. They cash flow, and I get appreciation as well. So you make money off of real estate, through the depreciation, the debt pay down, the appreciation, the tax advantages. I get all that stuff, and I'm kind of recession proof in that I can sell
Exactly.
these things to an owner occupant at any time. All I got to do is get the tenant out. I can sell that property to someone that's going to use it as a home, not as a rental.
Bro, 100%. And I remember we were talking about it. I don't know the last time I saw you was, but you're like, I'm not doing D's. I thought you were moving more into A's though. Like you have some A class properties, right? Or no?
I got a few, like my office building, middle of downtown Columbus, literally steps from the courthouse and the state house, but and it's kind of in our like our main historic district. And then I just bought a commercial building in the middle of downtown, right in the middle of all of our skyscrapers. And then I've got a couple more. I've got like a 9 unit that's literally a big, beautiful brick 9 unit, and a couple other like single families that are in my market anyway, 500,000,
Yeah.
700,000. But this is stuff I used to live in that I've house hacked, and
Uh-huh.
I've already sucked the money out, so it doesn't make sense to sell. So I want to ride that thing out for another 10 years, and then capture some equity when it makes sense. But yeah, I mean, look at all these A class apartments that's being built across everywhere. I mean, even in Utah. I mean, there's cranes, right? Well, there were.
So even though there's a 20% dip, these apartments will be fine because there's still a massive housing shortage. I don't think there's going to be like a real estate crash because we're still so undersupplied that nothing is going to like absolutely implode the market. Foreclosures are not coming in a wave like they were before because there was no arms, right? Yes, we're going to have a significantly more amount just because the forbearances are finally starting to kick in. But are we going to see like an absolute bloodbath? I think
I don't think so.
with the dudes who are doing deals, we'll see like those syndicators who are like anticipating going into like that 4% debt. Now the deal's blowing up, like stuff like that. Yeah, we're gonna be able to pick up more of those. But as far as like deal flow, I don't see any writing on the wall. I just see it slowing down.
I think it's slowing down prices, but you also have to understand this is something that happened in Columbus about 3 weeks ago. The big unknown right now is the hedge funds that have came in and bought swarms and swarms of properties in every city.
Yeah.
That's the big unknown. I can tell you, at least in my market, the rents, they're not going up anymore. Like they're because and a couple of factors. One, you got hedge funds that are like trying to get ahead of this thing, so they're just dropping their rents, and they can do it.
Yeah.
They got more money than God; they can do it. You have newer investors that were banking on rental appreciation that's not happening, and you have flippers. Okay, and anyone that says that they didn't get stuck with a few properties they were trying to flip is a damn liar. But
Exactly.
you got these people that are trying to rent these properties, myself included, at rates that, just to be able to break even so you're not losing money on some of your flips. So a combination of those things, I think the big unknown is going to be the hedge funds, what they decide to do, how much they've really taken of the market share. Number two, the smaller burr people that were banking on rent appreciation or bought wrong or bought at the absolute top that don't have enough liquidity to ride out these properties if they've got tenants that are moving. I think those are the two biggest unknowns right now because back in 20, and I'm going back to, I got in 2010, I bought my first house and then bought some more in 2011. But I just remember in like 2009, like no one was buying anything because there was no money. Like real investing in single family properties was like a dirty word. No one was doing that. They're like, oh, everyone got burned by doing this. Then we realized with technology and management efficiencies, you can rent this stuff and be profitable with it. It can actually be an asset class, but single family was not an asset class 10 years ago. So I think that there's a couple unknowns that we don't know how large the effect's going to be yet.
I don't. So, and I personally don't think single family becomes an asset class till you hit 30 houses. Like you're losing money. You can't afford anything. One bad thing goes wrong, cash flow gets eaten up. Like there's like so many different variables to where it just
Yeah,
takes more to hit some scale for it to be
uh,
fun. Now I'm talking about like
yeah,
yeah, like now you're not working for your tenants, right? Now
for
like we
sure.
have a business that can operate.
I would say in between, at least in my market and my rents and my values, the difference between there's a no man's land and it's between 40 to like 90 to 100 units. That's no man's
Okay.
land because with 40 you can manage everything with you and a VA or you get a property manager, right?
Yeah.
And they're actually going to treat you decently when you get 40 units. um, but even the management company can't put full-time people in place until you get to
Exactly.
80, 90, 100 units because you don't have that much revenue. So it's
Hmm.
kind of that no man's land that you have to go out and achieve in order to have some efficiencies and some scale. But I mean, there's something to be said too for, my very first mentor. I think dude's got like 37 houses and they're all paid off, free and clear. Rides around his pickup truck every day. Now he runs his business like an old school landlord. I mean, I run mine I always ran my stuff like a business, even when I had one house. Um, but you know, I think there's something to be said for those people that are out there that, maybe just that want that 10 grand a month or that 20 or 30 grand a month. Hey, you get in this game, you put your head down for 15 years, get these suckers paid down or paid off, and eventually you don't have to pay everything off. Maybe you take, these 20 and say, hey, I've created enough equity to where these are going to stay paid off free and clear. I'm going to shift my debt over to these, siphon out the cash, and that way I've got, a bankroll
Buffered
to be
account.
able
Yeah.
to, yeah, to be able to fix stuff. And, you take your 20, 30 grand a month and, you live your life. And for most people, it's what they want.
I mean, but
They'll say that
again, that's
they'll say
after a
that they want
15-year
more.
span.
Right.
What
But
I
what's
was
wrong with that?
no, nothing wrong with that, right? To where I have a friend of mine named Michael Zuber who's like, all you need is 4 rentals and you'll be fine. I was like, bro, you're gonna fucking bankrupt them. Like you got 4 rentals, like you're gonna go bankrupt, dude. Like let
You got to have
something
enough.
bad happen.
Yeah, you got to have another income. You definitely have to have another income until it becomes a real income,
Until it
Um,
becomes a real
and
income and you can afford the roof, right? I mean, a roof goes out on a house, you got to replace it. You
shit,
got to.
man, we had a storm came by. I had 6 roofs go bad, and I'm like, damn, man. And now my places are smaller. I mean, they're $6,000, $7,000 roofs. Um, and I get them done cheaper with the contracting company that we have now. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, we turn these things into insurance, and they're like, "How much you want your rates to go up?" I'm like, "Damn, I'll take care of it." And just over a 2 year period, I'm like, they're gonna jack this stuff up, and then I didn't want to deal with it. And I'm like, yeah, but that sucks, right?
Yeah.
But unless you have another income or enough coming in from this stuff, that's another reason I don't like the D class stuff either. The amount of rent that you're gonna get, if you're talking $800-900 stuff, $1,000 a month stuff, dude, the furnace is still the same amount in the $1,000 rental
Exactly.
versus the $2,000 rental. The roof is still the same amount, no matter what the square footage is. So you don't have enough revenue to be able to carry all these capex items. So I mean, it's another reason I stay out of D class stuff, and it looks attractive on paper, but what really happens? We're speaking the truth.
Yeah, 100% the truth. Like nobody anticipates, because my first rental was in a D class area. I was like, bro, fuck no. Like never again. Like me and my partner just decided, like, yeah, we're not doing it anymore. We will buy in B and A class areas, and there will be primary. Like I'll break even on them because I can do that, and I'm just playing appreciation in the state of California. I have 100% faith. Fresno is growing. I can do that. It's a good asset. We make a couple $100 a month, whatever. To me, that's breaking even. Let something happen. That cash flow replaces it, right? And then we
Mm-hmm.
either do that or put it on Airbnb, and that's all we're looking for. I don't want some D class area house that we cash flow $700 a month. Then a heroin addict lights that bitch on fire, and then we gotta deal with a whole bunch of other bullshit.
Yeah, it's truth, man. It's talking about the Airbnb stuff. I think it's like the new thing, and I think there's a large unknown that people aren't taking into account. And like I was with a guy yesterday. He basically owns a whole town, like a town. He owns like 69 commercial buildings in the middle of one small 30,000
Hell yeah.
person town. Um, and he's starting to do these short term rentals, and you got to furnish them. You can't finance the furnishings.
Nope.
That's There's no, and you don't get your money back out of it. So it's just what's your
Ever.
return on these? Yeah. So and what are you gonna do? Go to liquidation sale, put it on Facebook Marketplace? That's the thing, And so I'm always looking at like, what's my if I can finance everything? I can't finance the furniture. We just did shit. We got 90 some permits from the city.
I remember you
I
told me
just
about that.
started, yeah,
Yeah.
just in case, right? Just in case. And if they grandfather them, I'm like, hey, at least these are grandfathered in. But we've got 25 of these things now, and then being able to come up, it's like 10, 15 grand a year. Bank ain't financing that for you. You got to come
No.
up all the stuff out of pocket. Then the other thing that I don't like necessarily about it, I'm already figuring out. One of the cool things with rentals is you collect rent and then you pay your mortgage, your taxes, your insurance, your payroll, and all that stuff. So you get revenue to then pay it out. You don't get revenue to pay it. You have to have the operating capital there to pay all these things because you're getting revenue spread out through the month. So
Yeah. What
that's
we
another
did.
thing that
Go ahead.
no, I was just saying that's another thing. And again, I'm new to this whole, you
Uh
know,
huh.
Airbnb short-term rental stuff, but that was another thing I found real quick. Like this is something that people aren't thinking about.
What we did and what our plan is we put a second on everything, right? Like so whenever we're raising the capital, that capital is just locked in, and then like we have it as that second position mortgage, and we know that if we buy all the furniture and everything else, we can still cash flow regularly with that mortgage in place that covered all of that furnishing, right? So whatever the
Mm,
rehab cost is, like we just bake that into it, and we just say, hey, yeah, this is the note we're paying on this,
yeah,
regardless of what happens. And so that's the way we
that's
set it
smart.
up. And so that way you're not as worried about it because like you can't finance it, you can't do anything else. Um, one of my friends who's in Utah, he's acquiring at a crazy rate. I think it's about like 24 creative doors in the last month out in Utah, and he's raising capital for the Airbnbs. But the reason he can do it is he's honestly should start a fund, right? But the reason he can do it is because he can acquire at such a fast rate. He's like, if anything happens, bro, we take all the furniture, we place it into something else, we can still give you your return because he can create such good returns with Airbnb,
But he's
and he's not.
arbitraging everything. He's not
He's
buying these
doing both.
properties.
He's doing both. No, he
But for
bought
the
22
but for
doors creatively with that. But like even with his arbitrage, he can arbitrage and raise the money to do it and gives them a yield, right? And then says, okay, if anything happens, we will place you on another one. But with his other ones, he's doing the same model that we do, as far as like, yeah, bro, we'll just raise the money to furnish it. So like in both ways, he's secure. and he's still transitioning out of, let's say, Airbnb into more like corporate housing to like offset
I got
that
you.
risk.
And I like that corporate housing model. I got a buddy here that does that, and he's on the train that he doesn't want to own anything. He's like, yeah, I just want to go in these A-class apartment units because they can't fill these buildings. I go in, I have the same unit 12 times in a row that they can't rent. I just pay them regular rent, and they'll even discount it for me because I'm taking 10 at a time, and I've got a track record. And then I'll furnish it, and then if it goes bad, I just take the furniture. But that's his business, right? That's his sole business. For me, it's one person, its own division within the conglomerate of all the other stuff that and and then other than that, we were talking about things breaking down, right? This stuff breaks down too. The couch, the seat, like you got to go in and turn these units too every 3 to 4 months. We just so I had 6 short-term rental units with a management company, and this is what made me want to bring it in house. Out of the 6, we were bringing in about 18 to 22 grand a month in gross. They were sending me a direct deposit for like 10 G's. They're taking 40% of my money. And I'm like,
really?
Okay, hire a person, boom, done. Get some scale. That's a no-brainer. But I walk in these units. What was that? Maybe 2 weeks ago, destroyed. I'm talking destroyed. And they had never been in there to turn them, to go touch up paint or anything like that. One of the basements was like there was a water issue. They just didn't tell anybody. And I was wondering why they were getting all these bad reviews. But no one's going to manage stuff the way that you're going to manage stuff. But
no.
But yeah, they just require more maintenance.
Exactly.
So
well, and I like it because you have to upkeep them, right? Like you have to upkeep them. You got to stay in front of them, whatever else. But again, hit some scale, have someone dedicated to it, and then that way you're good. This is why I see it, and it's a solid system. But where did you learn how to sell? Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead, bro. What did you say?
Where did you learn how to sell?
Oh shit! I got a funny story for you, man. I'm gonna share it. So I had no clue what sales was, and I was actually I was kind of like floating from couch to couch back in like 2008. No one was hiring at the time, and I was trying to find a job. I couldn't find a job. So, anyways, I'm over at this young lady's house that I was kind of using her couch, and she had a party that night. Dude shows up to this party, and I ended up, how do I say this as PC as possible? There was there was a pretty young lady there, and she was a lot better looking than this dude. And for some reason, I was able to sell her on him. And then he's like, damn. He's like, tell you what, you give me a call tomorrow. Or no, he said, you email me tomorrow before 5 a.m. And before 5, it's Saturday night. We're going to be up till 2 before 5 a.m. And you remember my name, you'll have a job next week. And that's how I got my first job. And he kind of took me under his wing for like a year. And, we go to the bar, we'd fucking role play. We would, and the things just came out of his mouth, all the rebuttals. And we were selling personal training, by the way. So people would say, I just want to go home and think about it. Well, Mrs. Jones, just so I make sure I'm doing my job correctly, what are some of kind of the main things we're kind of thinking about? Oh, well, I just, I'm not sure. Well, you told me before that you're a 10 on the serious scale. You told me before that, you're successful in your career. You're successful in your job. You're successful with your kids. We're just not a success in the gym yet. So my job, my role is to make sure that we are a success together with you in this gym. Like stuff like that, bro. And I'm just powerful. Like, how do you I'm like, how does this spew out of your mouth like just so fluidly? And it's repetition. It's repetition. And the more that you do it and the more that you believe in it, and you believe it, like I believed in my product. We were changing people's lives, people that wouldn't do it on their own. I mean, I have a personal trainer even today, like, because I'm like, shit, I got to hit that's why I'm on my workout gear. I had to hit my fourth workout because I got one more coming up tomorrow. But if I don't do it, then I'm held accountable to my trainer. But that's how I learned, man. So I mean, I kind of got lucky by just being at the right place, the right time. Understood that this job was going to really, really pay dividends in the future. And I understood that this dude was really, really phenomenal at his job, and he was. And now what's cool is we're business partners in a
Oh,
gym.
that's dope,
So it's funny how it comes full circle,
bro. I've legitimately never. I've taken like some Grant Cardone stuff, but I've never had like an actual sales trainer. I did some Steve Trank stuff, but as far as like Sandler based selling is not as much like rebuttal selling. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause like I did like the John Martinez stuff in the real estate space, but I do think like the best sales training is transactional sales training because you're getting so many reps, right? If you're selling personal training, bro, like there's a lot of reps in having to sell those, right? Like every day, like you're gonna go out there and try and sell 20 of them. I never had an opportunity to do something like that, which I think that's like where you can really get down the basics of everything you're trying to like, and it's hammered in because you're having so many conversations.
Yeah, and the way that sale worked is you would get 5 sets a day, and you'd have to go make them. You'd have to go talk to people on the floor, so you have to prospect, get someone to make an appointment with you. Then you know that 3 of them are going to show up, and if you're good enough salesman, you're going to close one of them. So, and then our average deal size is about $1,500. We were making 10 to 12% commissions on that. If you do enough in 2 weeks, that's 20 grand, which is typically what I hit. So 20 grand, there's your 5 6K a month. And for me back then, that was amazing. I'm like, I don't care how long I got to work. I'll be here at 5. I won't leave till 10 11. Like, I'm
Yeah.
good. But it's a very emotional sale for sure. Very emotional, very energetic sale. Whereas, houses is kind of the same thing. It really is, because it's an emotional thing. It's an emotional
It's an emotional
investment.
thing.
Even small landlords, it's emotional for them because, man, I bought this house in 1988. We've owned this thing since '88. We put that roof on. We fixed that door last year. How people get about their properties. They get emotional about them. And so for most people, I mean, you do have your accountants and your engineers and your very mathematical people that are all pros, cons, dollar cents, and okay, great, and they move on. But for the most part, people get emotional about this real estate stuff, and that's where we come in, and we have to figure and tap into those emotions, but also too realize that we're going to create a win-win for them once they exit that property.
Bro, did you take any of like the Hormozy stuff to scale Pros Gym? Like his
No,
gym
you know
launch
what?
stuff?
I haven't, man. I haven't. So I just bought the building about 3 months ago. I actually just got off
It
the
finally
bank with
went through.
doing. Yeah, finally went through. So the gym itself is 25,000 square feet, smack dab in the middle of downtown, and then I've got an additional like 10,000 square feet above that I'm converting. I can't say exactly what, but it's going to be pretty sweet. Um, but I'm waiting on the LOI, so I can't say yet. Don't want to jinx it. But yeah, man. So I've been a part owner in that gym since 2015. So the original mentor, who I was telling you, the sales guy,
Hmm.
he needed money um, to be able to buy this gym, and he's like, "Man, we're tapped, and I've got nowhere else to go." I'm like, "I had like 50 grand in my account," and I'm like, "Dude, I'm going to give you 30." I'm like, "All right, you know what? If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here." So boom, here you go. So that was like the first 30 grand I invested into the gym. And that was 2015. And since then, obviously I've invested a hell of a lot more. But the gym itself, going back to 2020 when we had COVID, we have the Arnold Classic, right? So the Arnold Classic
Hmm.
in Columbus, Ohio, is the biggest event that we have besides Ohio State football. What's cool with our gym is it's literally right next door to the Arnold Classic. So Ronnie Coleman, he's in there. He'll come in and he signed my daughter's shirts. We were eating Chick-fil-A together, went out to lunch a couple times. So you meet all these great people, and what do people want to do? They want to be there to see all these pros.
Exactly.
So we do 2 to 3 months worth of revenue in 3 to 4 days every Arnold. So as we would lose money, we would use the Arnold to be able to catch back up. And then now that we've built the business to some degree, we just haven't been able to renovate the building. So the landlord would not. I mean, we were without heat in the wintertime. We're without air. I mean, they treat us like dogs in a cage, man. Like a Rottweiler, it's just out back in the backyard, just sweating in the sun.
Getting it.
Um, yeah, man. And so but there's nothing we could do either because we're trying to build this business and uh, build up the client base. So now we're undergoing this massive rebrand effort, this massive renovation effort. Um, you know, uh, just I'm basically taking all the stuff in the real estate and the fitness industry that I have, all the old stuff, and then using it back in the gym. And then also too, what's cool is now I'm 50% partner in this thing, in the gym, and then I own 100% of the building. So yeah, I'm super excited about it, man. I'm excited about the brand. I'm actually going to show you next week. We just got our branding and marketing package back, which was not cheap, and it looks super classic. And I don't know, man. If you can't tell, I'm kind of stoked about it.
Bro, I'm stoked about it for you. And I won't jinx the other thing. I'll talk to you about it afterwards. I think everything you have going on with that is dope as fuck. Honestly, I
I
think it's gonna
appreciate
be
it, man.
huge.
When you
Um,
gonna come to Columbus? You gonna come for the Arnold?
bro, when am I gonna come to Columbus? I don't know. I've never even been to Columbus.
You gotta come for the
Um,
Arnold, man. You gotta
do you
come for
guys
the
have?
Arnold.
Where are the Browns? Do you guys have a football team there?
So Columbus, you got Cleveland, which is 2.5 hours. You got Cincinnati, which is 2 hours, and Pittsburgh, which is 3 hours, and Indianapolis, which is 3 hours. So you typically it's like a third, a third, a third. So like I'm a Steelers fan because growing up they were good and the Browns suck and the Bengals suck. So I wanted to pick the good team. And then everyone's a Buckeyes fan. Ohio State football is the number one thing here.
Is Ohio State in Columbus?
Yep,
Oh, yeah,
yep.
I'll come next fall. We'll go to a Ohio State game because that's dope.
There we go. There we go. And then my house is about 5 minutes away from campus. So
Really?
yeah, so you can kind of hear games.
Bro, it looks pretty out there. I'm surprised the sun's still up. What time is it for you?
Dude, yeah, that's why
Five?
that's why I'm outside. What is it? Yeah, 5:15.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, so I
It's
just
nice out
I just built this. Well, I didn't build it, but I just got this patio built, and it's still nice outside. I got some TVs hanging up outside. Um, yeah, so if it's nice in Columbus, Ohio in the fall, you're outside.
Someone said, "My man, I might have to come by." I don't know who that is. We can't see. But they said they might have to come by. Drop your name for me. Um, so we got that, bro. How did you become a bank extraordinaire? And by the way, you crushed it at DM's event talking about the banks. I told you
Bro,
that, but I thought you crushed it. How'd you become a
thank you,
bank
bro.
extraordinaire? Because like that whole presentation was like, oh fuck, bro. And that it was legit.
I appreciate that actually a lot, especially coming from you. Man, I think so. Back in like 20, and again going back to like 2011, 2012, 2013, there was all these deals, but there was no money. Hard money wasn't even like a thing. If you found hard money, they'd be like, yeah, we'll do one or two deals, but we can only do two deals at a time. So there was no scale with hard money. There wasn't these
Yeah.
national hard money lenders. I didn't know anybody with money. So private money was kind of out. But in order to own rental properties, you got to get long-term financing. So I started going, like I went to Chase, like, yeah, no, we can only do four. And then everyone would do these Freddie and Fannie loans. And then I heard something about these portfolio lenders. I'm like, well, what's a portfolio lender? And what I realized is these smaller banks would rather collect interest off of these loans long term as opposed to selling them back to Freddie and Fannie. So they kind of wrote their own rules. When I realized that, I was like the rates were higher. They were on 20 years instead of 25 or instead of 30, which that I thought that sucked at the time because I was like, oh man, that's an extra $75 a month cash flow. But when you get on a 20 or 25 as opposed to a 30 and you hang on to it for 5 years, you're like, damn, I just paid down all that debt. And then you can go back and re-leverage it and use the property again. But I think for me, man, like I had to find money. And when I figured out that these smaller local community banks were in the business of doing business with other small businesses, it was like I understood it. I got it. And then I also understood that banks in the metro that I'm in, which is Columbus, would not do smaller real estate deals. But these smaller banks in these farm communities, these towns that kind of surround Columbus,
Mhm.
they had to get into Columbus to do business because their town sucks. So they're trying to get
Got
into
to
the
get their
major
money
metro,
moving.
and they
Yeah.
need people like me to be able to, and they have to take higher risk in order to try to compete with these bigger banks. So I think it was just out of necessity, man. I wanted to build a rental portfolio. I wanted to be able to have freedom, options, all those things. And I knew that flipping properties wasn't it. Like, mean, back then you were making 10 to 15 grand to flip. It's like do all this work to make 10, 15 grand. Makes no sense. You're going to make 10 to 15 grand off the cash flow on rent alone. Like
Exactly.
why would I give this thing up and pay taxes and do all these? Nah. So I don't know. I understood rentals quickly. I understood very quickly how to get long term financing, and I don't know. Just when I figured out the portfolio lender thing, that was like that was the eye opener for me.
Portfolio lenders, and then, bro, have you offered up like a course on that shit yet? I think that one's
Dude, I got
valuable.
to do it.
You
I got
have
to
to.
do it. I have been dragging my feet on that. I'll commit right now that I'll put it together before the end of the year.
Hell yeah, bro. You
I'm
because like it's
committing right now.
powerful, bro. Like I mean, because that shit, everybody struggles with it. Everybody's fucking afraid of banks, and everybody who's building a portfolio comes to that point as well, to where like, what do I do next? Everybody's like, well, you can't get more than 4 loans. Like, what about fucking someone owns more than 4 houses? I promise you.
Exactly, right? I'm like, I mean, I remember the first portfolio loan I got. I did my first house was the FHA house hack. The next house was a Freddie loan. The next house was a Freddie loan. Then I did a temper. There was a program for condos at 10% down back then. So I bought a single family condo for like 45 grand. Shit's worth like 250 now. Um, but for 10% down. And then I'm like, man, what's up with these portfolio loans? And then the next one I got, um, I think I paid like 66,000 for it or something like that. And it was on a 20-year note. And then there was these adjustable rate mortgages, right? Because I was fixed on these first like 4 or 5. And then the adjustable rate mortgage, like, I'm like, man, everyone told me to stay away from these things. What's going to happen in 5 years? Like, and then once I got that loan, I'm like, oh, they'll do as many as I want, or as many as I can lever up with them.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm absolutely going to do that. I'm like, dude, if I own 50 of these things, I can figure out rate hikes in 5 years. And rates actually went down from 20. I mean, my first houses were at 6%, 6.5%. So I mean, I'm used to those rates. I'm used to
Yeah.
that. Whereas most people are like, man, 6%, 6.5%. They can't even fathom it right now.
I mean, to me, I just don't get it because deals are deals.
Deals are deals, bro. They don't all have to be at 1% like you. But but if it works, if it cash, I used to have this saying: if it cash flows, fuck it.
Bro, if it
But
cash flows, fuck it. Like if it fits your criteria, the deal gets done. Let's keep on trucking. I mean, it's
that's what I'm
easy to
saying, man.
say, but
And there's different deals too. I mean, another thing that I like to personally do, I call it being in a path of progress. This is a
yeah,
gold gem for everyone listening and paying attention. So, you might go into these neighborhoods that maybe weren't like. There's an area where I grew up, um, and they were like $20,000 in 2008, 2009, 10. Do you know Tommy Har?
uh-uh.
Okay.
Austin's friend.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep. Okay. So he just bought a house for about 100 times that. And was that 100 or is that 10?
Bro,
It was
100
a,
grand.
it was a lot.
That's a
No,
big
no,
shit.
not no. It was like 350. Okay. So um, one trying to throw his business out there, but I'm just like, holy shit. So like in some of these neighborhoods, if you can get a property, and you don't want all your properties to be old and like this,
Yeah,
but if again, you've got to play the appreciation game to some degree too in the single family game. They can't all be 3 bedroom, 2 bath boxes because those things don't appreciate as much in value as something that's going to be in the path of progress, which are generally older homes, neighborhoods that are on the up and up. Coffee shop just goes in.
yeah,
Someone's doing art murals on a old brick building. Those are places you want to be, but give it a 3 to 4, 5 year time horizon. Do cost segregation on that property because you're going to have enough money into it because these are usually bigger rehabs, and just hang on to it for 3 to 4, 5 years, see what happens. And I've made a lot of money doing that, a lot of money. And then
Did
you
you
pass it
did
off
you
to
make a
someone who's going
killing
to own
with
it.
refinances over the last couple years, or did you keep it in?
Uh, nah, man, I've refinanced pretty much everything. I've got 3 or 4 big blanket loans that I haven't refinanced. And the
Okay.
reason is because I'm selling. I mean, they're like I got one loan at like 30 some percent. So anything I want to sell out of that blanket, I can just sell it and I can release it free and clear.
Okay.
So it's like, hey, I can refinance it, pay all the higher interest, but I want to be able to leave equity in my portfolio too. And especially if you got a loan that has a lot of equity and you can sliver some things out. So if you got a property that's worth, just throwing out numbers, 200 grand, and the bank's like, yeah, you can go ahead and sell this, and our loan to value is good, so you can just release it free, and you don't owe us anything. Great, that gives you some level of liquidity, right?
Yeah.
So instead of having it all now and paying interest on it, it gives me an option to sell it later. So, and it makes your balance sheet look better when you higher net worth. I mean, I don't need to if you don't need to yank the money, like I mean, and you have some options of to be able to
Mhm.
have some liquidity, I think that's important too.
When did you really start to hit scale? Like when you're like, oh wow, like I actually like I started to make money.
Oh man, um, shit. I think so. 2013 was a big year. I had 16 units. I bought 16 in one day. Left my job, so I had 32. I bought another like seven that year because I was still using my income from my W-2 to be able to
Mhm.
help qualify. So I got up to I think like I don't know 38, maybe 40 units that year. So that was cool. Then I had to pick up a full-time maintenance person. That was kind of the first jump. 2016 was a jump. I bought a 36 unit, a 16 unit, uh, a 10 unit, and then I bought my office building, which I mean I paid like 225 for it. It's probably worth 1.3, 1.4 now.
Dang.
I mean I bought a lot of units that year, but oh, and I bought a big ass house in the middle of downtown as well. But having all that year, you can ask anybody. 2017 was a rough year for me. Just there was too much growth. I was trying to do too much. I was investing in other businesses too.
Okay.
Got greedy, got arrogant. Hey man, oh you know, this is easy. Just it was not a good place to be. And then 2017 was rough. It was really rough, and it almost sunk me for sure.
How
So
did you
you
bounce
got to
back?
be a cash out refi, several of them. I swear, man. Found one bank to believe in me, and I was equity rich and cash poor. Taking on too
Yep.
much and not letting the money flow in and back out of these properties all at the right time. So, and once you get all your money stuck in properties and you have no liquidity and you try to go to the bank to get a loan, they're like, oh, well, you need the cash. We don't want to give it to you. You go to the
Exactly.
bank and you got cash. You're like, yeah, how much do you need? Oh, yeah, 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 no problem. Yeah, I'll get the signature for you, no problem. But yeah, that
Where
was
was your deal flow coming from?
those are 2 years. But, so this is something that I think is important for people to know too. Is when when the world gets bad, you're going to find better deals on market than you will off market. Because someone's selling something off market, there's a reason they're not putting it on the market. When there's a slew of properties that are on the market, like right now, like
Mhm.
there's deals on the market. Like we're buying deals on the market right now. Like the first couple seller finance deals, this is literally VA throwing out blanket offers. Hey, if you're interested in cash price, seller finance price, boom. And then um, we're getting seller finance deals that way. So I think the on market stuff when the world gets bad, because people are willing to negotiate, it's been sitting on the
Yeah.
market, 90 days, expired listings, all those things. That stuff's going to come back. Um, but yeah, back then it was on market. I would make a point to call 10 realtors a day, and I just wanted to know what was coming up, if you had anything, and I was trying to get what worked well for me was trying to get the chatty Cathy on the phone. So you get someone that's chatty Cathy, talk to them. Now we're best friends. Now she's out there working to actively find me that deal, that diamond in the rough, or say, hey, yeah, or someone that needs the paycheck. Realtors are supposed to act on their clients' best interest, but I mean, if they need a paycheck, they're going to try to make that deal work, right?
Yep.
So that was my big strategy before I really had a team because I didn't have a team until like 2017, 2018,
Okay.
and then that's when we started doing marketing, direct mail, cold calling, all that stuff. I think now I love cold calling. I think it's a great marketing strategy because it never gets old. It's consistent. You can bank on it. You know that you plug X in, you're getting Y back. It's not
Exactly.
like PPC or something else. And I like consistency, man. I want to know what's going to happen.
Yeah. They all have
What
their
about what?
place, right? Someone who wants to, like
Yeah,
a hands-off business, I'm like, bro, go pay someone to run ads for you, and then just buy all PPC, right? I mean, if like it depends on what you want to do. Cold calling, a little bit more labor intensive. It's less expensive, but you still got to put systems in place for it, right? And then things change, things pivot.
yeah, for sure. And then I think the power. I mean, just us sitting here talking like this, social media, the power of the internet. There, what was it in 2021? I got 30% of my deal flow off one way, shape, or form on social media. What my cost per deal goes down like this, and it's free. Yeah, you
Exactly.
got to take your phone out. You got to go like this, and you got to do these things. But there's power in relationships and people getting to know you, know your story, and want to do business with you. So I think it's important to create that network for anybody. And then it's like, hey, I passed you this deal, pass me this deal, because this whole business is who needs what when anyway. Like if
Yep.
I need a deal now, I need money now. Someone needs something. You just figure it out.
Bro, people do not want to hear me when I say you need to do more social media. Like, how do I get started in real estate? I'm like, I guarantee you someone just died in your network. Like, if you were at least posting about that you were buying houses, you could help them out and buy a probate house. Especially you older people,
Yeah,
because they're still on that bitch. Like, they act like they're not on social media. They're on social media,
bro,
right?
they're on Facebook constantly.
Bro, they're
They're
on
on
that bitch.
constantly. Yeah, man. I mean, like my parents are. My dad finally got hip to Facebook, but my mom, she's on it now. Oh, let me tell you this. My mom discovered TikTok, bro. She's like,
Bro.
yeah, I saw you in that video in the red shirt, and they were saying all types of mean things about you, and I don't know if you should. I'm like, mom, that was an impromptu thing with me, Austin, and Tim Bratz. Like it, I didn't even know like how that was going to turn out, but it went viral, and
Oh, yeah.
it is what it is. What it is.
Were you bald? Was your head shaved in that one? Were you
It
bald
was
headed
not
in that one?
shaved. I was
Okay.
not. Still got hair, bro. I
I
was
mean, because
not
like
bald headed
half
in
of the
that.
qualifications to get into the DM fam is you have to be bald. Um,
Hey, hey. That's so hilarious, man. Dude, I swear, I'm literally I'm getting my hair done. There's no doubt about it. I've been waiting. I've been putting it off. I've been putting it off. I mean, I don't give a shit. It's something that I want. I want some long, flowing Cuban drug lord looking hair. I want to
yes.
wear my gold chain like you and let my taco meat pop out. You know what I mean? Like, trying to be like you young guys, man.
Hey, bro. I mean, you'd never know Mark's bald, right? Because he's got that fucking fedora on. But did you see my last post from our mastermind when we were in Ohio?
I didn't see it.
Bro, I go across the room and it was like Austin, Keith, and like there was like 8 bald people in a row, and then everybody else. Like they were like all in I got so many
Hey,
comments back. Like, what are the prerequisites to being there, dude? Like, you got to be bald.
what?
Is this a
Hey,
clan meeting?
want to make money and stress the hell out for the rest of your life? Just look at these guys.
Just
They're gonna show you the way. It's
where
hilarious,
can
man.
where can
Nah.
people find out more about you, bro?
Oh man, hit me up on Instagram at Tarry Summs. Hit me up on TikTok at Tarry Summs. You can hit me up on Facebook too if that's your thing. Tarry Summers. I'm the only Terry with an A that you'll ever find. It's Tarry Summers. And I just started a podcast show. We've done our first 12 episodes called the Let's Be Honest Show, where we talk about real estate, business, and lifestyle and everything in between. Please go to YouTube, watch it, subscribe to my YouTube channel.
Hell yeah! Talk about your mastermind too. You still got that going on?
Yeah, so we have two actually. So we have the Monopoly Mastermind, where we basically lift the skirt up on our business, and we tailor it towards the 12 people that are in that mastermind. So most people will have a curriculum. I don't do a curriculum because I want to figure out what each business owner needs, and
Yep.
then I take the whole entire 2 days and I say, hey, we're scratching this out because none of you guys
You
need
and
to
you.
know
Yeah.
about this. Hey, we're going to focus more on property management because you you've got property and you guys are trying to figure this out. So that's one of the things we do there. And then I have a community called the Scalers Only Community, where I get on a call every Wednesday at 4 o'clock, and we talk real estate, we talk business, and we dive into people's issues, their problems, how we can solve their business issues, not their personal stuff, but sometimes we dig into personal, but yeah. And then we have a Discord chat as well where you get to ask all your questions in real time. Literally, it's $297 a month. There's I think 52 people in there right now. I don't really market it or promote it much because I want the right people in there. My whole purpose for doing it is to be able to have partners in the future,
Yep.
and people I can know, like, and trust and do business with in the future. So, yeah, man.
Hell yeah. Any parting words, bro?
Dude, thank you for having me on. Yeah, you were. Yeah, just thank you for having me on. You're amazing, and for anyone that is listening or paying attention, uh, don't try to be the hero these days. Work your ass off. Cut some expenses, increase your income, learn how to sell, and don't just try to make it through these times. Thrive through these times. It'll make you better.
Exactly. Thank you so much for coming on, bro. It means a
Hey,
ton.
appreciate you, my man.
Of course. And for you guys, we have the Winning Mastermind coming up on November 10th and 11th. Can't wait to see you guys there. Then we do have our big event. We're flying out Payson Jamil and Henry Washington on November 19th. We should get over 700 people there. Both of them. Send me a message on Instagram. I'd love to talk to you. Please go give us a 5-star review. Go hit up T Sums. He's a wealth of knowledge, and I can't wait to talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Winning Move podcast. I hope it helps you make all the right moves in your life and business. Please make sure to go like and subscribe on any podcast platform that you're listening to, and make sure to go follow me